All right, fuckers, let's cut the crap and dive into Manchester United. Everyone and their nan knows the name, but what's the real story behind all the hype? The drama, the money, the whole shebang.
What's wild is these guys started as a bunch of railway workers back in 1878.
Railway workers?
Yeah, mate. Newton Heath LYR Football Club, they called themselves.
LYR? What the hell's that? Sounds like some kind of fancy acronym.
Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway.
Ah, so they were representing the rails. No fancy stadiums, no billionaire owners, just a bunch of blokes kicking a ball around after a hard day's work, huh?
Pretty much. And get this, they almost went tits up in 1902.
Manchester United bankrupt. Can you imagine?
Some local businessman named John Henry Davies came to the rescue, pumped some cash into the club, and changed the name to Manchester United.
So this Davies bloke was like their sugar daddy.
He saw potential. They won their first league title in 1908, then the FA Cup the next year.
That's a hell of a turnaround, from almost bankrupt to champions in just a few years. Okay, now we got to talk about Matt Busby. This guy's a legend, right? He took over as manager in 1945, and from what I've heard, he basically shaped the club's destiny.
Busby was a visionary, mate. He built a team for the future. He created this squad of talented youngsters, the Busby Babes, and they took English football by storm in the 50s.
The Busby Babes. I've heard that name before, so they were like the wonder kids of their time.
Exactly. Won consecutive league titles. It was a golden age for the club.
Yeah, but then that Munich air disaster. 1958.
Horrible.
8 players gone, along with others, of course. Devastating.
It shook everyone.
I mean, how the hell do you even come back from something like that?
Busby, though, he was a fighter, rebuilt the team, and 10 years after the disaster, they won the European Cup.
10 years after Munich. That's some serious resilience. So what happened after Busby called it quits?
Well, there were some good times, some bad times, a couple of FA Cups, but they weren't the same force. They needed someone to, well, to light a fire under their arses, really.
And that someone was?
Alex Ferguson arrived in 86.
Fergie, the godfather of Manchester United. Didn't take any shit from anyone, that's for sure.
A demanding manager, but he got results. Built a dynasty.
How many trophies did that bloke win? I lose count.
38 trophies in 27 years. Think about that. 13 Premier League titles, 5 FA Cups, 2 Champions League titles.
Fucking hell. 2 Champions League titles. I mean, this guy was basically winning something every other year. What was his secret? Was it that infamous hairdryer treatment of his? Or was he just a tactical genius?
It was everything, mate. Tactical mind, motivator, built winning teams. He just had it, you know? That presence.
Yeah, I can imagine. The kind of bloke you wouldn't want to mess with. But he must have had a soft spot for his players too, right? Under all of that gruff exterior.
Oh, he did. Loyal to them. Always had their best interests at heart. And he had some incredible players.
Beckham, Giggs, Scholes, Keane, legends, a lot of them.
The class of 92. The talent he brought through.
All right, let's talk about 1998-99. The treble, the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the Champions League. All in one bloody season. Doesn't get much better than that, does it?
It's the pinnacle, mate. The absolute pinnacle. And that Champions League final.
Against Bayern Munich, 2 goals in stoppage time. I remember watching that. My heart was in my throat.
Unbelievable scenes. The stuff of legend. Manchester United, one of the greatest teams ever.
No doubt about it. But after Fergie retired in 2013, things went a bit pear-shaped, didn't they?
Struggled to replace him. Made some questionable decisions.
And then there's the Glazers. Bought the club in 2005, and they've been like a bad smell ever since.
The Glazer takeover, a lot of fans are still bitter about that.
Yeah, we'll get into those wankers and their financial fuckery next time.
Oh, great.
For now, let's just say the fans haven't exactly welcomed them with open arms.
Understatement of the century.
All right, lads and lasses, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll delve into the Glazer takeover, those insane finances, and how the hell Manchester United became a global brand. Don't go anywhere.
So these Glazer asshats, right? They basically used the club's assets to get a massive loan to buy the damn thing in the first place.
They mortgaged the future to buy the present? Brilliant. Fucking geniuses.
Saddled the club with like $540 million in debt.
540 mil. Fuck me. Even for a club like Manchester United, that's a lot of dough. What's happened to all that debt? They haven't actually paid any of it off, have they?
Refinanced it a few times, tried to lower the interest payments and all that. But the debt itself, nah, barely touched. And get this, you want to know the total they've shelled out in interest and fees because of the Glazers?
I get with it.
Over £1 billion.
$1 billion. You taking the piss? $1 billion fucking quid.
Yeah.
That could bought them a whole new squad of superstars. No wonder the fans are ready to string those bastards up.
It's a joke, innit? All that money wasted on debt when it could have gone to the team, or hell, even lowered ticket prices so the loyal supporters could actually afford to watch a match.
They're lining their own pockets while the club bleeds money. Don't tell me they haven't taken dividends out of the club.
Oh, they've been siphoning millions, mate, straight into their own accounts, treating Manchester United like their personal piggy bank.
Those greedy bastards. No wonder the fans are calling for their heads. And let's not forget that Super League bullshit, eh? They were all for it, weren't they? Just another way to line their pockets, even if it meant screwing over every other club.
Oh yeah, they were right at the front of that, trying to destroy the traditions of European football. Thankfully, it backfired spectacularly.
Thank fuck for that. It just shows you how much those cunts actually care about the fans or the game itself. So what's the solution here? The fans hate them. The debt's a fucking black hole. They've got a worse reputation than a used car salesman. Are they ever going to sell?
Rumors flying around, but who knows? Some fans are hoping Jim Ratcliffe might do something. Yeah, he's got that 25% stake, right? But who knows if he's going to step up and do anything more?
Fingers crossed he grows a pair and kicks those Glazer wankers to the curb. Anyway, enough about those leeches. How did Manchester United become such a global brand anyway? Every fucker on the planet knows that Red Devil logo.
It's the history in it, all those trophies, the legendary players. Word gets around.
True, true. But loads of clubs win trophies. They haven't all become global brands.
Manchester United, they were pioneers, though. Marketing, commercializing the club, they understood how to build a brand, mate. Connect with fans worldwide.
Selling the dream, eh? Jerseys, merchandise, those sponsorships that make my eyes water.
They clocked early on that football wasn't just a game, it was a global entertainment business. And they went all in.
And raked in the cash while they were at it. I bet they've got more fans than some countries have citizens.
Millions upon millions all over the world. It's why those sponsorship deals are so massive.
It's a money-making machine, that's for sure. And let's not forget the players. Always had the big names, the superstars that everyone wants to see. Beckham, Ronaldo, the list goes on and on.
Attracting the best talent is part of their strategy, mate. It feeds the beast.
A self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
In it. The more they win, the bigger the brand gets, the more money they make, the more superstars they can afford.
Exactly. It's a cycle.
Right. Rivalries. Got to talk about those. It's not just about the football, is it? It's about history, geography, and who hates who the most.
It's tribal, mate. Deeply tribal.
So let's start with the big one. Manchester United and Liverpool. Why is that rivalry so fucking intense? It's not just about being top of the league, is it?
It's England in it. Two of the most historic, most successful cities going head-to-head. Manchester, Liverpool, working-class heritage, industrial powerhouses. It's a clash of cultures.
And on top of that, they've both been top dogs in football for decades. Adds fuel to the fire.
Every match is a battle for bragging rights. Who's the king of English football?
I bet the atmosphere's electric. Do they still have to keep the fans separated to stop them from brawling?
Oh, yeah, mate. Segregation's still a rule. Too much bad blood.
Fucking hell. Sounds like a war zone. All right, so we've got Liverpool. What about the Manchester Derby then? Manchester United versus Manchester City. That's going to be a tense one.
Always has been, but it went nuclear when City started winning trophies, challenging United's dominance and all that.
It's like that annoying little brother who finally learned how to throw a punch.
And they're playing different styles of football, which adds another layer, you know? City, they're all about possession, fancy footwork, attacking.
And United, more of a smash and grab style.
They've always been more direct, yeah. Physical, never giving up. Two different philosophies. Makes for a good clash.
So who's come out on top in recent years?
They've traded blows, mate. City won an FA Cup final a couple of years back, but United got revenge in 2024. Close match, 2-1.
I bet those matches were mental. Okay, so we've got Liverpool, we've got City. What about Leeds? I've heard that's a nasty one too.
Leeds. The Roses rivalry. That one goes way, way back.
The Roses. Sounds romantic.
Nothing romantic about it, mate. We're talking Wars of the Roses, 15th century, Lancashire versus Yorkshire. It's in their blood.
Hold on, so you're telling me a football rivalry is based on a fucking medieval war?
That's England for you, innit? We hold on to grudges. Manchester's Lancashire, Leeds is Yorkshire. Every match is a fight for regional pride.
So it's like Game of Thrones, but with football instead of swords and dragons.
Used to be some right brutal matches back in the day. Calmed down a bit now, but the animosity's still there, simmering under the surface.
So it's more than just a game. It's about identity, where you're from.
Exactly. All right, Arsenal. We should mention Arsenal.
Ah, yeah, Arsenal. Back in the day, that was the rivalry, wasn't it?
Those battles for the Premier League title in the 90s and early 2000s, epic stuff. Ferguson and Wenger, those two hated each other's guts.
I remember those press conferences. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife.
Both wanted to win no matter what, and it showed on the pitch.
Passionate blokes. All right, let's talk about the fans themselves. Manchester United fans, they're a breed apart, aren't they? What are they like?
Loyal, passionate, loud as fuck. They create an atmosphere at Old Trafford that's second to none. And they travel well.
A force to be reckoned with, eh?
One of the most dedicated fan bases in the world. They've stuck with the club through everything. But they don't shy away from giving their opinions, especially when it comes to the Glazers.
They've been pretty vocal in their protests.
They want owners who give a shit about the club, not just their own wallets. It's a right mess, that whole situation.
Right, the players. What's the squad looking like these days? Are they any good, or are they just a bunch of overpaid prima donnas?
It's a mixed bag, to be honest. Got some real quality. Fernandez, Casemiro, those lads can play. But consistency has been an issue.
They haven't won the league since Fergie, have they?
Nope.
Wow.
2013 was the last one. Come close a few times, but just haven't had that killer instinct.
So what's the problem? Lack of investment. Shit managers.
Mm-hmm.
Or are they just cursed?
A bit of everything, really. Some say the squad needs an overhaul. Others blame the managers. And then there's the whole Glazer thing hanging over the club like a bad smell.
It's got to be demoralizing for the players. And the fans. So what's the verdict? Are they going to get back to the top? Or are they destined to become a mid-table mediocrity?
It's tough to say. The Premier League is brutal these days. So many clubs with money, ambition.
So you're saying it's a long shot?
They need a miracle. A manager who can work wonders, some smart signings, and yeah, probably new owners if they want a real shot at the title.
All right, let's talk about Old Trafford. It's an iconic stadium, isn't it? But it's getting a bit old.
They call it the Theater of Dreams. Seen some incredible moments over the years. But yeah, it's starting to show its age.
Heard they're thinking of doing it up, maybe even building a new one.
It's a tough one, innit? Old Trafford's got so much history. Be ashamed to lose that.
But they can't just let it fall apart.
Exactly. It's a balancing act. Preserve the history, but modernize for the future.
Right, the women's team. They've been on fire lately, haven't they?
They have, mate. Since they formed in 2018, they've been climbing the ranks. Won the FA Cup this year.
No way. That's
They
brilliant.
beat Tottenham 4-0 in the final.
Oh, fucking hell, that's impressive. It's great to see the women's game getting more support.
It's growing fast, and it's brilliant to see clubs like United backing it properly. Right. What else? We've talked about the teams, the Glazers, the rivalries, the stadium.
The academy, we got to talk about that. Manchester United's academy is legendary.
The class of 92, Beckham, Giggs, Scholes, the Neville brothers, they set the standard, mate.
Golden generation.
Yeah.
But they haven't been as successful in recent years, have they?
The game's changed. Academies have to adapt. United's lost a bit of its edge in that department.
So the academy needs a reboot. What about the whole club? What's next for Manchester United?
Big question, that. They're at a crossroads. Loads of potential, but so much uncertainty. New manager, maybe new owners soon. They're trying to find their way back to the top.
It's a fascinating story in it. A club full of contradictions. They've got this incredible history, but they're also drowning in debt, and the fans hate the owners. It's a right mess.
Yeah, but it's a glorious mess. Manchester United, they're always in the spotlight. Love them or hate them, they're impossible to ignore.
All right, so we spent the last hour ripping the piss out of the Glazers and their dodgy dealings. But how the hell did those wankers get their grubby mitts on Manchester United in the first place?
It was like a slow motion heist, really. Started back in 2003, buying up shares little by little, like vultures circling a carcass. By May 2005, boom, they had control.
So they played the long game. No one saw them coming. There was a fight, for sure. Fans protesting, some politicians tried to block it, but the Glazers, well, they had the cash, the lawyers, they knew how to play the game.
And they just steamrolled over everyone, didn't give a toss about pissing off the fans.
They knew that leveraged buyout would fuck the club with debt, but they didn't care.
They saw a money-making opportunity and went for it. Didn't matter who they screwed over in the process. Manchester United was a cash cow to them, a way to make a quick buck. And they've been doing it ever since. Dividends, sponsorships, you name it. They've squeezed every last penny out of this club.
It's a fucking disgrace. But what can you do? Those bastards are like cockroaches. You can't get rid of them.
The fans haven't given up. The protests, the boycotts, they're trying.
But it's like spitting in the wind, isn't it? The Glazers are laughing all the way to the bank. They've got their hooks in this club, and they're not letting go anytime soon.
Maybe, maybe not. Stranger things have happened.
Okay, enough about those leeches. Let's focus on what really matters. What needs to happen for Manchester United to get back to their glory days?
A new manager would be a good start. Someone who can actually inspire the players, get them playing the Manchester United way.
You mean like Fergie?
Like Fergie. Someone who understands the club, the history, the fans. Someone who can bring back that winning mentality.
And the players themselves. Do they need to kick up the arse or a complete overhaul?
There's talent there, but they need direction, leadership. Players who bleed for the badge, who know what it means to wear that shirt.
No more preening prima donnas, you mean? More players like Keane, he'd sort them out.
Someone like that, yeah. Someone who demands the best, who sets the standard.
And obviously they need to get rid of the Glazers. That's a given. But assuming those bloodsuckers do fuck off, what else needs to change?
The whole culture needs a shakeup. They need to get back to basics, focus on developing young players, playing attacking football.
The Manchester United way.
Exactly. Get back to what made them great in the first place.
Well, that's a nice thought, but it's easier said than done. Football's a different beast now. It's all about money, and those Arab sheiks and Russian oligarchs, they've changed the game.
True. But Manchester United is Manchester United. They've got the history, the fan base, the global appeal. They can compete with anyone if they get their shit together.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'm not holding my breath. But anyway, this has been a wild ride, talking about Manchester United. It's like reliving a lifetime of emotions. The highs, the lows, the drama, the passion, it's all there.
It's a club that gets under your skin, for sure. Love them or hate them, they're a part of you.
Well said, mate. Well said. To all you listeners out there, thanks for tuning in to The Deep Dive. We'll be back next week with another deep dive into the beautiful game. Until then, keep the faith and remember, it's just a game. Unless it's Manchester United, then it's a matter of life and death. Cheers.